to the April 26th meeting of the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals. All members are participating remotely. That would be myself, Mr. Greg Tanzi, Mr. Stephen Galley, Mr. Timothy Haynes, Mr. Bob Baker Sr., and Mr. Bob Baker Jr. via telephone. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I got a motion. I'll take a motion from Mr. Baker Jr. I'll take the second from Mr. Baker Sr. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Haynes?
Yes.
And Mr. Baker Sr.?
Yes.
And then Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Rock and roll. All right. So, let me get to it. I'm gonna read the legal ad. 6:30 p.m. remotely conducted continuance public hearing will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, April 26th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. on an application for a comprehensive permit dated January 21st, 2022, filed with the town clerk on January 24th, 2022, to redevelop the existing Holy Family School into 27 affordable housing units for the elderly on the property to be known as and numbered 6 Delpreet Avenue, Rockland, Massachusetts, containing 38,888 square feet or less, plus an access easement of approximately 813 square feet, all known as the project. The applicant, Schoolhouse Apartments Rockland Limited Partnership, is proposing that all 27 of the rental units be classified as affordable housing units for the elderly pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40B, and its implementing regulations. The project is located at 403 Union Street, Rockland, Massachusetts, as shown on the Rockland Assessors Map 34, parcel 157, and is situated in the R4 zoning district. The owner of the property is Roman Catholic Archbishop of Boston, 66 Brooks Drive, Braintree, Massachusetts, 02184. There you go. All right. Where do we leave off?
Oh. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mike Feely here with Ed Doherty of Doherty Law Offices in Boston. I'm here representing Schoolhouse Apartments Rockland Limited Partnership, and they are an affiliate of Colleen Partners LLC, the developer. I'm joined here tonight by Austin Chartier, Brad McKenzie from McKenzie Engineering, John Seeger, Dan Riccarelli, and Julia Morandini from Seeger Architects, Michael D'Angelo from MDLA Landscape Architects, Joe Armstrong is principal at the Multifamily Capital Resources, Inc., Seamus Finney, Senior General Superintendent for EH&M Construction Company, and Linda Hamilton from FHRC Management Corporation. I think we have enough here. And I thank you for this process. This has been a great process, and I think there were a lot of questions at the last meeting and a lot of really great comments. I think we touched upon many of them, all of them, and we're gonna go through them tonight and show you the changes that you requested. And I have with me Austin Chartier, who's gonna go through many of the changes that you requested last week. Austin, are you here? Wait, first I have to find Julia. Julia, are you here? Let's find Julia.
I'm here.
I'm going to put Julia on the spot here for putting the presentation up. Just a moment. I just spoke with her. Julia?
Here, there, I see your name.
I do see your name. She's having a little trouble, I think. Just a moment. Julia?
Chartier, do you have the plans accessible?
Yeah, I do. I can.
Why don't we have you take control of the screen and we'll just go through that.
Sure, I can share my screen for now. So yeah, we resubmitted based on some plans based on the last hearing. We got some input from the peer review engineer, Pat Brennan of Amory Engineers. We also had some input from the members of the board. I guess I can just kind of
Yeah,
summarize
It
exactly.
really comes down to the site plan showing the sewer line, I think, at this point.
Yep. Yeah, so that was the main change. I did reach out to Water and Sewer to get additional records. We were able to get some pretty good records on the sewer. So what we're proposing to do now, we're putting it all in an easement for the sewer basically crossing our property. We're gonna basically cut and cap the existing pipe down here. So everything on red in this plan is new since the last hearing.
Thank you for doing that. That made it a hell of a lot easier to work with.
Oh yeah, for sure. It
yeah.
definitely makes it more legible.
From going forward, please do that for our board.
Sure, no problem. So yeah, we're gonna abandon the existing sewer, which runs under the existing building. Internally within the building, that would, the plumbing engineer will abandon that. But outside the building, we're proposing a doghouse manhole over the existing clay pipe. Essentially, we're, capturing the existing sewage flow from the church, the rectory, and the two accessory buildings. And we're routing them around the building about
Can you do me a
12
favor,
foot
sir?
off.
Austin, can you do me a favor? Can you zoom into that existing manhole with the church and the yeah, I want to do that math right there. 149.01 minus 145.76. 3. What's the diameter of the pipe there? Is that a
6 inch. And we're proposing 6 inch as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit shallower than your typical pipe, but we're proposing Schedule 80 PVC, so it's going to have no issues with in terms of loading for the with the 6 inch pipe. And basically, as I was saying, we're just running the pipe parallel to the building, about 12 feet off. We're going to put it in a 20-foot wide sewer easement, so that they have access to it at all times. And we're going to run it out towards Del Prete Ave where it goes today. And we're actually going to basically tie into that existing sewer at the existing elevation it comes in at, just to, minimize any elevation changes of that. We're basically keeping the pitch of the pipe and running it around the building. We're going to take the sewer out of the existing building where it comes out today. So the interior plumbing doesn't have to change all that much. And we're going to run it into this new manhole here. So that'll be a brand new structure running out into the road with 6 inch PVC Schedule 80. So that was the major change, putting that in an easement and basically providing them access to it, the church, to that easement. There were some, if there's any questions about that, feel free to jump in. I can keep going on some of the changes we've made.
Yes, please do. Please continue with the changes. We'll deal. We'll come back to all this at the end, like we usually do. So.
Sure. This is the traffic flow plan. Member Baker had raised some questions about the signage along Union Street. So we added some additional signing here at Union Street and at the edge of this parking lot, just to reinforce to users that, they shouldn't be going out to Union Street. They should be exiting towards Del Prete. So we just add these one-way, do not enter, just to reinforce that it'll only help. And the other change on this plan was the visitor spaces. The church basically wanted the spaces that they were going to have some access to be closer. So we moved, these 6 spaces will be for church use on Sundays and special events. There'll be some language, within the easement on, when those will be used. But so those are now the visitor spaces, and these will now be changed to residents down here. That was the changes on this sheet. The construction management plan didn't necessarily change much.
Oh,
The deliveries will be made here. So basically adjacent to the building and then exit out to Del Prete Ave.
So that's, Mr. Chairman, that's where we're at. I think it answers a lot of your questions from last week, excuse me, 2 weeks ago. And now we're open to any comments that you may have.
Yeah, let me just open it up to the board because I know that they haven't seen some of the documents that we've all seen. So, Mr. Tanzi, what, any thoughts at this point?
I don't have any questions at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzi. Mr. Haynes?
No questions for me.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Mr. Baker Senior? Is no longer with us.
Bob, you're muted.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was busy unmuting. No, based on what's been presented so far this evening, I have no questions.
Okay, Mr. Baker Senior, where are you?
Yes, I'm here.
There you are.
When the trucks exit the property onto Dell Creek, could we have them go out to Exchange Street instead of driving through the neighborhoods over there? Because those streets over there are kind of small, narrow.
Yeah, I don't think that would be an issue at all. I think they would like to do that, but we could put some language in to enforce that.
Yeah, that's not an issue at all. We can take care of that.
All right, so all construction traffic will be entering the site via Exchange and Del Creek? Is that what we're saying?
Chairman,
Yeah,
Rosa
we can-
Jennifer Conley. Within our construction plan narrative, we've addressed this issue and we're going to work with the police department as well to route the traffic and then, work with them if there are any other construction projects or municipal projects that we should be aware of at that time.
That's fine. So has a dialogue already been opened up or are we just planning to do that, Ms. Connell?
We're planning. I
We're
think.
planning to do that.
Okay, as long as the dialogue gets opened and as long as the PD approves of it, then
Yeah.
we're good.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Mr. Galley, where are you?
Here.
There you go. Any questions, sir?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
All right. Now let's kind of look at let's look at the memo that we got, letter that we got from Highway Department. Mr. Chartier, did you? Yeah, there we go. All right. So we understand that if the waiver is granted for the moratorium, which I think we have the ruling on that. You good with this? Full paving curb to curb?
When you mentioned curb to curb, you're talking about where we're digging. Is that correct?
Yeah, from where you're digging. So it's really what it comes down to is the width of the trench, curb to curb. That's the way that I understand it. Is everybody okay with that?
Bob, could I just, usually they make them go a couple of feet past the trench.
Yep.
When they cold plane it, so that it's not, that's how we do them, that's how we've done it before.
Yeah, that's relatively typical. You're never right at the edge of the trench. You're always a couple feet beyond it.
Mr. Chairman, that's fine. That's fine.
I kind of figured that. The next one was drain manholes, catch basins will need to be updated downstream from project. Work will need to be established with highway drainage departments. Mr. Feely, what's your understanding of that?
That as far as downstream from we are actually Austin, I'm gonna leave this one to you, but basically we'd asked that the catch basins be cleaned out and that hoods be installed. Is that your understanding, Austin?
Yeah, I can jump in. So yeah, of the, these actual connections to the town will be reviewed by DPW and approved by them. As of now,
we don't have a DPW, remember that.
Right, the water and highway. But so I guess what I'm saying is we're proposing hoods on the existing infrastructure and hoods and deep sumps on the catch basins, as well as cleaning downstream, basically cleaning the existing pipes. As far as downstream from the project, I mean, it's kind
How
of
far
vague. on what the-
downstream are we talking? I think that's
Right.
really the question.
It's not really clear, but we're open to cleaning and updating with hoods, I think that would be the most beneficial.
That's something that I think that Mr. Taylor is raising a valid concern. But it is something I think you guys need to just discuss with him to get the full limits of what he's thinking.
Right.
And I don't think we have to deal with from this site all the way to the nearest wetland. You know what I mean? I don't think that's required. It's just a matter of how many drain manholes and catch basins, how far does he want you to go? So as long as somebody is able to reach out to him and get his feeling on it, then I don't think that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, just to add to that, as part of the peer review conducted by Amory engineers, basically we're improving the conditions on site anyway. So it's going to be an improvement of what's there today.
That's agreed. The clay pipe, we've already dealt with that. Intermantle drop for a sewer manhole for both projects, for both part of the slope, and the lines will need to be camera frosting up. Yeah. Number one under the sewer. How do we feel about that?
Well, there's a little bit of, I think what we're doing, and I'll lean on Austin a little bit again, but a lot of pipes go to a manhole and then come out onto the street, including what's going to be coming out of the new building. To go on to property we frankly don't own. And, I think what we have is a much better, cleaner solution to what some of the issues are already. What I get from that sentence is that they would like to have the pipes that go under the building capped.
Yep.
And that's what we've endeavored to do. But Austin, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think we're basically, with our changes, we are addressing, the replacement of the clay pipe from the rectory and church around the building. In terms of the drop-ins, that's basically the services. I mean, we're not necessarily proposing any changes from the church. So anything that's coming onto our property is going to flow through the new main. We're not aware of any issues upstream either.
Oh, I finally did get a little bit of clarification from Mr. Taylor. And again, this is his recommendation. This is not something that he's just saying has to be done. It is a recommendation and a recommendation only, and I understand why he's saying this. This is also coming from the sewer commissioners also. First and foremost, with the doghouse manhole, the sewer commissioners hate doghouse manholes. They don't allow them. I'm not saying that it won't be allowed. I'm just saying that it's never been accepted before. So that's going to have to be something that you talk to them about. I can't waive something like that. This board can't waive something like that. Especially with, and Austin can check my number on this. You're looking at about 3 feet of cover over that pipe. That sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, that's not a ton of cover, especially for a clay pipe that's coming in. So that's one of his concerns. And the other concern is the sheer fact that those pipes haven't been looked at in a very long time. If something happens when you're dealing with a manhole that's that shallow, and it disturbs the remainder of that pipe, then we really got an issue. So his recommendation is to replace all the clay pipe coming from the church, coming from the rectory. You'd probably have to gain some depth. Because again, I have no idea what's happening at the church. I can only assume that it's coming out excruciatingly shallow at the church. And again, I don't know if he's worried about freezing at this point because it is an existing condition. But I know typically with a septic system, at least, you're looking at a minimum of a foot cover. Mr. Chartier, I'm assuming you've designed a septic system here or there?
Yes, I have.
What's minimum
Yeah,
cover?
I mean,
Right there?
there's many different ways in an active sewer. Yeah, I mean, we have about 3 feet of cover at that sewer coming onto our property.
Yeah, do we know what
That
it is all the way
freezing
up,
wouldn't,
though?
freezing wouldn't be the issue. It sounds like he just wants, maybe the upgraded service connections, which is understandable, but it's my understanding the church has actually done some renovations
Mhm.
to these sewer connections in the past,
Okay.
relatively recently. So I'm not sure,
Our position is with, I'm sorry, go ahead. Our position is that we'd like to stay away from property that's not ours. And I know they have done some renovations in the past. We'd like to stay away from that.
It's understood. Mr. Chartier, can you pull up that site plan again with the sewer revisions on it? There we go. All right, right into the, let's see, there's the doghouse manhole, there's that sewer manhole that's already there. You've got a center. So would you be replacing that entire clay pipe from the existing manhole? Because I know
So
we're
there's-
talking the doghouse, and I'm telling you, you're probably not gonna get that approved through the sewer commissions. So I'm trying to figure out how to work with this.
well, so all a doghouse is you're basically building a manhole around an existing pipe. We can just call for a new manhole instead of a doghouse where you actually form the base of the manhole. It's similar in construction, a doghouse to just a new manhole. The
Not
problem with that
really, because with the doghouse, you're building it over the pipe. With a new
Right, so
manhole,
the difference is the temporary service. You need to provide a temporary connection while you build it.
there's a major difference between the two. Plus, from a construction standpoint, you're building it over an existing sewer pipe and you're just cutting that pipe. With a new one, you're gonna have to expose a decent amount of that pipe, at least a couple of feet, to be able to slide that manhole in there. Or you're gonna have to provide some sort of coupling to make it work.
Yeah.
Mr. Baker, you're my construction man on this. And that's Mr. Baker Senior. What issues do you see here?
That clay pipe coming from the existing manhole that's there now is it's gonna fall apart. You even look at it, it's gonna fall apart.
This is what I think
You
Mr.
start pulling
Taylor,
the joint, start trying to pull one of those joints apart and it's gonna fall apart.
that's what Mr. Taylor is a little bit nervous about, I believe. And I absolutely echo that.
Is there a way to run, instead of having that doghouse manhole, go to the existing manhole and run the line into the new one on the corner here? The corner of
Yeah,
the-
that's absolutely something we can do is just utilize the existing outlet from that existing manhole.
and run it,
We were just trying to keep it all on our property, but it's not a big deal.
okay.
We can get an access easement and just come right out of it.
yeah, because you're only gonna be what, maybe 4 or 5 feet onto the property.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't think the church would mind that.
If it's something we can handle with an easement, I think it's something that is a reasonable request.
Yeah, it looks like come out an extra 10, maybe 15 feet and just capture the manhole and, the first 5 feet of the pipes just to be safe. But, and either way, that'll give you enough room to work in there if you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some options here. So anything that we would obviously go forward with would be approved by them.
Yeah,
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 gonna have
because you're still gonna have to go through sewer department and the board and the sewer commissioners too. So that's that is what it is. And we can condition it appropriately to hit that.
Okay.
Plus, as I'm looking here, if once you do that, you'll be able to change the direction of the easement and the easement won't go through the building. If you look at that, it's clipping the corner of the building, just a tiny bit.
Right.
So if you change that direction, it'll work, it'll modify that too.
Okay.
Austin, does that sound like something reasonable that we can do?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
So that takes care of that. Again, it's his recommendation. It's not something that it's not something that's set in stone. It is something that you're gonna have to discuss with him on. And it's technically work that's off your property. So I mean, it's not something that, again, I'd have to pull the board and stuff like that, but I don't think it's something that we can really condition at this point. All right, what else we got? Any other revisions or any other changes we gotta talk about?
There was some responses to fire department. Basically, we're willing to do what they've requested. It's pretty standard stuff.
Plan must include all analysis and evaluation of fire application. That's Austin. New buildings, 3 more stories. I have protected through automatic sprinkler system. That was okay. So the sprinkler system for the building, you guys are okay with installing a sprinkler system?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
do we have one of our architects here? Dan, are you here? I don't think we have.
Hi, this is Julia. Yes, we have a sprinkler system for this building.
All right, so that's going to require a dedicated sprinkler line.
Yes,
So that's 2 water lines that we're going to have to deal with.
yes.
Is it shown that way on the site plan?
Yeah, that was another addition. We added the water service.
All right, so we got the for fire service. All right, there's that one. And can you point out the domestic water?
Yeah, so the domestic connection is actually existing, so it's staying.
Okay,
It's right next to it, so we're gonna essentially put it in the same trench.
all right. All right, and you don't have to upgrade that at all?
That'll, not that we're aware of. If it needs to be upgraded, it'll be upgraded.
Okay, so again, that's still something that you have to talk to water department and water commission, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's still something that we can condition appropriate.
Yep. And we did have a preliminary meeting with the Abington Rockland Joint Waterworks, and they issued the approval for
Oh, they
use.
did?
For use, yep, for water use.
For both the sprinkler system and the domestic, because obviously the domestic, you wouldn't, if you don't have to upgrade it, you don't have to change it. So
Right.
the only thing that you guys were going for was the fire line.
Yes, I can't, I'd have to go back and check on exactly what was approved, but they issued the change in use acceptance for school to residents.
Okay, so
I'm not sure where that entails a fire service versus a water service.
Okay. All right, well, still,
But if it's another hearing, it'd be another hearing. with
yeah,
them.
it still comes down to a condition that we would end up putting in anyway. Okay. What else we got? Was there anything else insurmountable with Deputy Chief Heaney's letter?
Can you go back to that letter? I'm sorry, yeah. There you go. Now the 2-way radio,
Yeah, we had talked about that. I think at the last meeting, I think you guys were okay with that.
Yep.
Was there anything that you did not, that you were kind of not liking on what on what Deputy Chief Heaney had to say?
No,
Everything was fine?
yeah, it was pretty standard stuff.
All right, what's next?
The roof fixture. I think that's later, that's further down the line. Just a cut sheet of it. Let's see. I think a little further back before the snow removal on it.
Mr. Feeney, we should have had you running the show on this.
Oh, yeah. I think I'll leave the pipes and drainage to Mr. Chartier.
Exactly. That's understood.
This is a cut sheet of the grills. And they'll meet code. I'm sorry, they're being, can you, Austin or John or Julia, can you give me a little bit about what's going on up at the top, whether or not it's being wrapped or if it's being sound wrapped and then these grills go on? I mean, either way, it's going to meet code.
Hey, Julia, this is John Seeger.
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, that's okay. No, we basically still have to do the design for the rooftop units to size them and basically work with the manufacturer to get the right decibel level. And then we size the screen for acoustical screening for the rooftop units accordingly to meet the state decibel levels. I think it's different at nighttime than it is daytime, but all in all, we basically have to comply to the sound decibels for the project, for the rooftop units.
No, it's understood. Again, I'd have to look into our own regs at this point, but I believe that both the Board of Health and zoning have decibel regs in there. I'm assuming you guys have looked at that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, as long as that works with all our regs, then come on, guys, give me something good here. There's got to be something else we're missing. It can't be this simple.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right, I'm going to put it to my board members. Board members, do you feel you have enough information to be able to close this public hearing and make a decision? Not tonight. We're going to have 40 days to make that decision, but or to get the conditions and the decision written. But board members, do you have enough information to be able to intelligently make a decision?
Mr. Rosa, before can I hate to jump in. Just
no,
a
you
little
don't.
bit
You
on
don't have to
process.
jump in. Come on, man.
A little bit on process. From our point of view, we are from our end, and I know you guys have what you need to do. That we've applied for tax credits from historic tax credits and tax credits from DHCD. The funding round is at the end of May, and if we miss that, it only happens once or twice a year. We put a serious dent in the schedule of when this goes online, if it goes online. And I was wondering, is the 40 days, is that by statute or by bylaw?
That's statute. Well, you tell me this. Just give me a date. When do you need to? And I'm not saying give me a week's lead time. Because we have another one of these 40Bs that's way more difficult than this. We got to make that decision count first. So you're saying the end of May is when your deadline?
Joe and actually Jennifer, if Joe's not there, if Jennifer, Joe, are you there? Joe Armstrong? We must have lost
Joe
him.
had another commitment tonight, so he's not on the line.
Okay. May 20th would be great.
May 20th, and you need the decision from us by May 20th.
Yes.
Decision with the conditions.
Yeah.
What about the appeal period? Does that have anything to do
Well,
with
the
it?
appeal period, that's what, 20 days.
Yeah.
And that would be, within I think we would be able to have that, at the end. I can't ask you to do it by the 5th of May because doesn't sound like it's going to happen.
It won't happen.
No, but the appeal period is 20 days, and that's going to be
Right.
what it is. Every project has to go through that. So.
Yep. So all you need from us is the decision with the conditions. That's it. Date stamped by the town clerk.
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have to worry. Okay. All right. And the 20th is the absolute. I need a little bit more time here.
The 26th.
Cutting it close for you guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the and all your and what will you have all your paperwork done? Will you have will you have everything done by that date, and all you're waiting for is to pick up a copy of the decision?
Yes.
Board members, what do you think? Boston, can we take the screen share off? Thank you, sir. Board members, where'd you go now? Oh, actually, whoa, before anybody says anything, Mr. Rubel. I know we've talked a couple of times. I just want to make sure that you're satisfied at this point.
At this point, I'm all satisfied. I can't wait to see the drawings.
Thank you, sir. Board members, I will open I don't see anybody general public on here. But board members, what do you think? Do you have enough?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Galley, he's raising his hand.
Thank you. I got a quick question. Sorry to ask for the broad question, but what's the general process for us that we have to meet this May 20th deadline that he's requesting?
Well,
25th.
If we're gonna say
What do we have to do?
what we have to get together just like the other one. All right,
Yeah.
we have to get together, we have to discuss conditions, we have to get this all together, make sure that we're all happy. And
Yeah.
then the big part, it goes in Deb's hands. And Deb has to, look at her shaking her head, she knows. She's gonna have to she has to type up everything. She has to run it by Galvin. She has to run it by us to make sure that we're all good with it. There's at least, I would say that she needs a minimum of 3 days worth of work on this. Once we come up with our conditions, our decision, the whole 9 yards. So if it needs to be done by the 26th, basically, Mike Feely or one of your team members ends up coming to the town clerk's office to pick up a copy on the 26th. We're gonna need at least Deb to start putting this together on Monday. She's gonna need at least Monday and Tuesday to put this all together. Hopefully, she can forward that a copy to us and a copy to Attorney Galvin so we can look it all over, make sure it's all good. And then put the final touches on the 25th, run upstairs to the morning of the 26th and file it with the town clerk. So that's our end of it. So basically, where are we right now? We're the
And we have to
20th.
fit that into our calendar.
Exactly. That's the problem. Deb, can you do me a favor? Talk to me about, we're at the 26th right now. Talk to me about upcoming meetings for this month.
We have 2 hearings on May 3rd.
Okay.
On the agenda is just deliberations, 320 Concord Street
On the 10th?
on the 10th. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay.
That's scheduled for that date.
Okay.
The 17th, we have Shingle Mill.
Yep.
We're not going to have a hearing on the 24th.
It's gonna be too late, but it'll be too late to deal with this. It'll be too late anyway.
Right.
Um,
So I could probably amend the agenda, revise it, to add this to the 10th. And also I can put it on the agenda for the May 3rd hearing.
So that could have, it's all right, so that could work, that gives us 2 days there. This I don't see, again, the big problem is, the big, not problem, but the big issue is coming up with the site-specific conditions, not just because we have a list of standard conditions that we always put through. But with each individual project, there's always individual conditions. So that's really the only issue. I don't see a ton on this project. I don't see too many, but again, it is what it is. So we could amend the agenda for the 10th, you said? Okay, and then worst case scenario, board members, can we add an off day, an off schedule meeting, something like a Thursday, to try and facilitate this applicant? Is that?
I'd be fine with that, Mr. Chairman.
I really don't want to give up a Thursday right now.
You don't want to give up a Thursday. Why? Lost isn't on. That's over. Saying that what other shows on Thursday?
Unfortunately,
DVR.
Yeah, it's an open dinner with my mother. It's very hard to get away from.
No, you're not going to cancel that. Seriously? No, we're not going to cancel that unless we take her out to dinner as a zoning board.
That's a good point. Yeah,
we can go to as the zoning board. We could take her to Mia Ragazzo.
That would be nice.
That would be awesome. I love that place.
Are you putting that in the form of a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Don't tempt me. I'll do that. I swear I'll do that, and I'll force it to be in the minutes too.
Well, I was going to second it if you were. That's all.
Yes. Let's potential Wednesday. I mean, I definitely don't want to interrupt anybody's personal schedules on anything, but I think that I think we can facilitate this a little bit. Board members, talk to me. What are your feelings? I don't do anything at night, so my schedule is always open.
I could accept a Wednesday.
As is mine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I've got 2 Wednesdays that we can work with. Mr. Baker, Mr. Tanzi, Mr. Haynes, does a Wednesday work for you guys?
What was the date of that Wednesday?
I don't have a date just yet, but I mean, if we're gonna work on the 10th, we could easily work on the 11th.
So I'm just going to throw out that it seems premature to me to add a date when we have, we have 3 dates. We've already added a date for an entire evening for deliberations.
Which night are we added for deliberations?
The 10th.
Remember, we got 320 Concord Street that we have to contend with too.
Yeah, I think we've got plenty of time. But also the 17th, Shingle Mill.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out that I think we're going to find ourselves with plenty of time.
With time on that, Matt? Do you think we're going to have time on that?
Not all, and also just to mention that if we're going to go into deliberations, unless Galvin tells us otherwise, I don't think we're under any requirement to deliberate in any particular order on any particular issue. So
no, we're definitely not. We're definitely not.
I don't think there's going to be a lot with this one anyway.
A
lot of deliberation on this one.
So we still have 40 days on 320.
Agreed.
Right. I'd rather use it on 320 than.
Agreed.
Well, the problem is that the next one, the next agenda, because again, agenda tonight, we've already modified it. We're talking 320 Concord Street tonight. So that's not a big deal. So we can knock that out. The next one is the 3rd. Did you say you can modify the agenda on the 3rd, Deb?
I lost you.
You're shaking.
I don't know if I missed anything.
Sorry, I can revise the agenda for the 3rd.
Okay, so we can add in some time on the 3rd. And then we could add it, and then we can add in some time, and then all we have on the agenda for the 10th is talk about this. There's talk deliberation for 320 Concord Street, okay. Just in case, throw it in on the 10th, to throw this in on the 10th as well.
I will.
And then actually, if we are, it's only gonna take an hour or so per night, worst case scenario. And if we're all feeling saucy, maybe we'll do it all in one night and go home at 1 a.m.
No,
Yeah, see, yeah.
We can add it to we can add them both to the 17th as well.
All
The
right,
17th, well, the 17th is Shingle Mill. But I can add it.
Mhm.
they'll probably ask for a continuation anyway.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. There's things that went on behind the scenes that I don't know what, I don't know what the result is yet. Okay,
I can't imagine this going past the 10th. That's just my own opinion. So I don't see.
Yeah.
So I don't see the reason to add it.
Well, the Conservation Commission's already kicked it into June, I think, haven't they?
for
Shingle Mill.
Shingle Mill?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good indication then. That's a very good indication. All right, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
We can deliberate a little tonight too
Mm.
on this.
Well, yeah, well, we got 320 Concord Street on too, saying that's where we got to deal with that. We got to deal with that. All right. Regardless, still comes down to board members. Do you feel you have enough information to be able to close the public hearing? Do you think that anything new could come out with any additional discussion? Don't everybody speak at once.
I feel I've got
Mr. Chairman,
enough
based on,
information.
I got two very important people battling back and forth, and I think you're both saying the same thing. You're both good, right?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
I'm fine.
that's two. Mr. Baker Senior, you're fine. Mr. Haynes?
Once Bob Baker complimented this submittal in the last meeting, I was done.
Mr. Galley, all right, how you feeling?
I'm feeling comfortable with what we've got.
All right, at this point, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
So
Motion,
moved, Mr. Chairman.
I got too many motions. Give me one.
Make a motion to close.
I got a motion. I need a second.
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 I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna say Mr. Baker Senior got that one. I got a motion. I got a second. I need a roll call. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Senior?
yes.
Mr. Haynes?
Yes.
And Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Done. All right, guys, we've got some time. We definitely gotta make this happen. Deb, you got anything to warn us about?
No.
You know what we gotta deal with for agenda changes? Everything's happy?
Mm-hmm. I got
Okay.
it.
All right. Oh, actually, I have to read my cheat sheet. I never get to read this cheat sheet because we never get to this point. Where the hell? Come on. All right. I'm gonna look away for a second so I can read this. Open the thing. Any questions? Hearing none, close the open. Okay. Hearing none, close the open portion of the meeting. The board will deliberate tonight, and you are welcome to stay. Or actually, no, we won't deliberate tonight. You are welcome to stay though if you want to. You will receive a decision in the mail with a date stamp, 21 days from the date stamp on the decision. Go to the town clerk's office, request a certificate of no appeal. If no one has appealed, the town clerk will give you certification, a copy of the original decision. Take those to the registry of deeds and have them recorded. One of the conditions is always to show the building department proof of recording. Do not start the next meeting until the advertised time. So that's it. Mr. Feely, we're gonna do everything we can.
Okay. Do you need anything from us? Further filings, any information?
At this
Good.
point, I'm gonna say no. I think we're good at this point. We have everything that we need. Unless Deb, unless you have something that you are missing.
I might be reaching out if I need
Okay.
something.
Is that okay, Mike?
Absolutely. I've been to her office before.
Okay, all right, so there'll be communication there if necessary. 40B team, go home. Thank you for an excellent presentation on everybody's part. That was great. That was great. And I think Mr. Baker Senior said it the last time. This was one of the most comprehensive, put together, well thought out 40B applications that this town, at least while I've been chairman, has ever seen.
Well, thank you.
That's
There's
true.
quite a group here and they've done a great job.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it shows. It absolutely shows. So get out of here. Enjoy the evening. Board members, I'm going to call for a 5-minute bathroom break before we start talking about 320 Concord Street. Does that work?
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you, Julia. Have an enjoyable evening, everybody. We'll be.
Bye.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, all right, gentlemen. Did Deb take off? No, Deb's still here. Does anybody know if Attorney Galvin's gonna be attending with us tonight? I just texted him. Hey, Deb, have you heard from Bob? Do you know if he's coming on tonight?
I have not heard from him.
Okay.
I did send him the agenda and the documents and stuff.
I just texted him to find out if he's gonna be coming. Deb, did he send you a copy of the, I thought I saw an email. Did he send you a copy of the decision from like Park and Howard?
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
All right, everybody's back. Are we good to talk at this point?
Yep.
Yes. Deb, any chance you can pull that up and maybe share the screen so everybody can see at least those conditions? Because again, I don't think it's the standard conditions that we keep looking at. It's gonna be the site specific conditions that we have to think about.
So he also told me, but I didn't scan it in, to pull the decision on Maplewood.
Yep, that was before my time.
Okay,
I think that was Greg, were you on Maplewood at that point?
I was.
All right, so you had, okay, but yeah, it was definitely, I know it was definitely before my time. Oh, hold on. I think I got somebody coming in here. Who's that? Who's that? Can't tonight. I'm at the strip club. He did. No, he just said he's got other things going on. So yeah. Deb, do you have those conditions? Is that something you can share or? Because I can go into my email and I can pull them up.
If we don't have them handy, we could maybe talk about some of the things we'd like to see.
Yeah, that's really, I think that's really all we have to, that we really have to come up with. All right.
if you could pull them up, that would be better for me.
All right. I do second what Mr. Haynes has to say, though. You know, it is kind of site specific at this point.
Well, do we have to motion to either accept it or not accept it?
Accept or what do you mean?
Approve it or not?
You
mean like just to approve it?
Yeah,
approve or disapprove.
It's it's approved with just like every other special permit, it's approved with conditions. So yeah, you can do it. We can say a motion to approve with conditions and then go over them. It doesn't really matter. I'd rather at least address some of the conditions before we say anything. And at this point, I think everybody's okay with it, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's against this project. Am I
You need to see the conditions.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I definitely agree. Let's talk conditions. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at this from three perspectives.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about now?
320 Concord Street.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought. Thank you.
All right. We need to look at it from my perspective. I think we need to look at it from kind of like three different positions: pre-construction, mid-construction, and post-construction. Because because again, this is a decent, I can't see it, for 320 Concord Street, there's gonna be a decent amount of construction traffic that we have to deal with on Concord Street. So, I don't
That
know.
question you asked me the other day,
Yep,
that's in the works.
we're gonna have to talk, we're definitely gonna have to put a condition in there about an approved construction,
Route.
yeah, thank you. An approved construction route for all, for all construction traffic coming and going on Concord Street. Because there's a decent amount of traffic. It's all residential. It's a slight cutoff street, but there's still a decent amount of traffic that uses Concord Street. So the first thing is that there's gonna have to be some sort of designated construction route, approved by the Rockland PD. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's number one. Or not number one, but that's one of them. The next thing is no stacking of, because again, there's a decent amount of fill. I didn't have a chance to run the fill calculation to know how much is actually going to be coming in here, but for the most part, it's about 3 feet of fill over the entire site.
Like a mini shingle mill.
Thank you. Does anybody have the plans in front of them? Do you know what the square footage is? The lots, actually, Deb, you might have it. Do you know what the lot square footage is for 320 Concord Street? Should say it on the application. Muted.
Sorry, I don't have it with me.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I have it here.
It's under 30,000.
It's under 30?
Yeah.
All right.
I would have said about 28,000, but
Yeah, I
I'm
want to say it's roughly that same number. Let me pull it just so I have it, because we can figure out what the fill is right now and know how many trucks are going to be, in and out of that place. 220 application. There's that. Here we go. Where is it? No, that's just that. There it is, 28,937. So just the round numbers, I'm gonna call it 29. 29,000 times 3 out there. Divide by 27 cubic yards. Greg, check my numbers on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
divide by 27.
I've got potentially 3,000 cubic yards.
Now multiply that times 1.5.
48.
Okay, so that's compaction.
Thank you. So let's call it with round numbers. Let's keep this round numbers, because there's also going to be other things that are coming in. There's stone, there's all kinds of other stuff. So let's round it up. Let's say 5,000 cubic yards of material are going to be imported into that site. 5,000. Mr. Baker, here's where I'm coming to you. How many cubic yards does a dump truck hold?
28 yards, but
28 yards. All right.
Yeah.
So
That's a trailer. That's a trailer. That's a trailer.
Triaxle only takes 22. 10-wheeler triaxle.
10-wheeler, and that's more than likely what they're going to be doing, because the triad, the trailer is not, it's never going to fit.
No.
All right. So 22. So it's 22. It's just 22 cubic
yards.
All right. So 5,000 divided by 22. That's 227 dump trucks.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. All right. Even if we knock it down to say 200, that's still 200 loads of material that's going to have to come in. All right. And they're still going to have to just dump it and move it around on the property, which it's not gonna be easy. So the next condition that I was thinking was no stacking of trucks on Concord Street. Mr. Baker, I'm gonna come to you on how to kind of word that, but I don't know how else to word it, no stacking of,
No staging of work vehicles on Concord Street.
okay, that's simple. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But,
That takes cement trucks and anything else that coming in, lumber trucks, cement truck, work trucks, all
Exactly.
yeah,
contractors, everything.
All right, so no staging of construction vehicles or construction equipment, no
offloading.
Thank you, no offloading of construction equipment on Concord Street. All construction activities shall be limited to
the lot.
To the lot and to the lot in general.
Or the work zone.
The work zone. As long as it's understood by everybody, that's really what it comes down to. So those are two things that I was thinking of.
truck route.
Mr. Tanzi, talk to me.
I think we should have it come from Circuit Street to Summer Street to Concord Street. That way you're not running all these dump trucks through the center of town. Or through, the intersection between Spring and Summer. I think that's the path of least resistance, easy in, easy out, less disruption.
I hear you. Does that
That's
should
what the
that be
bird
looked
might
at, depending on where they're getting the material, depending on where the material is coming from?
I think that's their problem, to be
Okay.
honest with you. I mean, this guy, he picks up the land for $39,000. I mean, it's a song. And he's building it on a lot that was too small for a house, for a single house. And now he wants to put 4 of those houses of approximately.
Yeah, but be careful where you're going here. It's almost sounding like revenge. We can't
No,
go.
it's not. But he's asking for a lot. He got a lot and make some accommodation for the town.
I agree with you. Let's leave it. Let's do me a favor. Let's leave it at that. I hear you. Deb, did you get the street? Did you get the streets as he said it?
I did. Now, is that part of like the construction traffic condition, or this is like a separate one, like construction route or whatever?
It's all.
It's a condition. Yeah, it's a condition, but it's a construction route. The condition is the construction route.
Does he have to put up signs for that? Because I see signs for like the construction route for the school.
Got a point. She's got a point.
Yeah.
Actually, the lieutenant made him do that.
The lieutenant did? Mr. Gallagher, what do you talk to me?
I just want just a quick rewind on the unloading of the construction vehicles. Can he get that bypassed if the police department authorizes it with the detail or something? I mean, I'm not trying to make it happen, but I mean, I just want to make sure, we can't be outraged over something that's legal.
Then we can.
If he has a problem with the conditions, he can either appeal or speak up about them. But I think the signage is a good thing. I wouldn't want traffic coming down Union Street, taking a left onto Market Street, going down, taking a right onto Circuit Street and coming in that way. I mean, the idea is to get all that traffic out of the downtown area.
Yeah.
I don't want these trucks going up and down Union Street. We've got schools there. There's just too much traffic. I mean, they can go out of their way a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Most of this fill is probably going to come from Landers, or it might come from Del Creek. I mean, that's an easy enough.
Yeah. Another question.
Mhm.
Good question. I'm just curious because I don't know how this works. When they're bringing dozens of truckloads of fill, how many come at a time generally? Like, would it be like a train of them, or would it be like, 4 a day or 1 an hour, or like?
I have seen it where if the site itself can contain, all of these trucks,
Yeah.
you can have one every 15 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen that. I've seen it happen. I've seen on-site trains of
Yeah.
trucks driving up 30 in a row,
Yeah.
trying to dump a load. You've got three front end loaders pushing all this material around, so the next 3 trucks can come in and dump. And it's a production. So again, whatever Greg said for the the travel route, the signage that Deb said, definitely no loading or offloading on Concord Street. But when it comes to that, unless approved by the Rockland Police Department, because if they are able to get out there with 2 details and the police department is okay with it, and I don't see it being too bad. If the PD likes it, if the PD is okay with it, then we should be okay with it.
I don't think the police are gonna. I think they'll appreciate it. But I'd want something in there that says that no trucks are gonna come access Circuit Street.
Access Concord Street.
Yeah, well, the route is from Circuit to Concord.
Okay.
What I don't want them doing is coming from the highway, going down Union, taking a left onto Market. So, I mean, I want something in there that says Circuit Street there's no traffic through the downtown area, on Union Street or on Market Street.
Why don't we limit it? Let me interrupt you. If we limit it to that, no construction traffic for 320 Concord Street to access Union Street or Market Street, and limit it to that. But throw in another one that says a planned construction route shall be approved by the Rockland Police Department.
I'm fine with that.
Does that work? And at least that way it says that right from general condition, it says, we don't want you in Union, we don't want you on Market. Anything other than that anything else needs to be approved by the Rockland Police Department. Honestly, that takes it out of our hands, and people can't come back at us for it. So
they'll only be able to, I'm fine with that.
Deb, I see you raising your hand.
So do we want to put in like the proposed construction route would be Circuit to Summit to Concord?
I don't know if I like the idea, but I'd kind of like to limit the condition to no construction traffic. No construction traffic shall be allowed on Union or Market Street.
Is somebody going to reach out to Lieutenant Zioli?
They're going to have to.
Okay.
In the end, they're going to have to, because we want to see him. We want to see them. Because I haven't seen it. Has anybody seen a full-on construction management package for this project? We've seen limited, and Tom has to approve this. So even once we say anything, Tom is still going to have to approve the construction management plan. So we're just the tip. We're just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to have to go through levels below us anyway, or above us, however you want to look at it. So,
Rob, just one quick question, and I don't need to beat a dead horse. So, what we have just agreed upon is that trucks cannot approach or enter
Enter Concord Street.
or Circuit Street from Market Street going
Where's
west.
Circuit Street? What's Circuit Street? Where's Circuit Street?
Circuit Street, if you go down
Circuit Street is-
Summer Street, right?
Yeah.
Into Hanover, and it stops. That's Circuit Street. If you go left, you go back out onto Market.
Yeah, but why, we can't restrict traffic in a different town.
Why not?
I don't think we can do that. I don't think,
It's just the access route to the site. We cannot have that many that's just the dump trucks bringing in the fill. We can't have that truck traffic going through the downtown area.
no, downtown area, I understand, but Circuit Street? That's a different town.
Yeah, but it bypasses, it's the only way to get to Concord Street and bypass the downtown area.
Is to use Circuit Street to Summer Street to Concord.
Yeah, they would end up using Circuit Street to Summer to Concord.
Yeah, Circuit is in another town.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a common sense.
They have to approach the site then through Hanover.
If that's the case. So we're forcing them through that town. It's as long as we say no construction traffic along Union Street or Market Street. Market starts at the Hanover line. Done.
All right.
They would have to go down Circuit Street to Summer Street.
Fine. Yeah. No, I'm good with that.
Does that work?
That works. Yeah.
Sure that I am.
No, that's the clarification that I was looking for. Okay,
right, cool.
So we're all on the same page.
All right, everybody like that so far?
They could come down Central Street to Spring Street to Concord Street, Summer Street to Concord.
Now, I mean, basically, the only way that they're going to get to Concord Street is down Summer Street. That's it.
Right.
If everybody's okay with that, then that works.
Can you really keep them off Market Street?
That's a state highway.
It's
right. It is a state highway.
That would, yeah, we can. And if we can't, let the authorities bring it up. But
yeah, A, let the authorities bring it up. B, let the police department bring it up. And C, let Attorney Galvin bring it up. He's gonna have to see this anyway.
Yeah.
This is everything that I think, this is the druthers. This is everything that we want. If we can't get everything that we want, according to Attorney Galvin, so be it. He'll tell us.
I mean, it would ruin, like, it's the school traffic.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a very, if the powers that be take our authority away from us on this, then shame on them, because this is definitely public interest. It's not a burden to the, to the applicant or the developer. So
the other way to do it
we also got to think about coming off of Circuit Street to Summer Street. The Eston School is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Because I was thinking it made sense to stay off Union Street because of the school.
Right.
And then, okay, so if there's that school, that doesn't really relieve school.
I think it'd be easier for Spring Street to Summer to Concord.
Yeah, you've got two schools on Market Street.
Yeah. All right, I got this. The only entrance, and again, this is not the wording, I'm just ballparking it. The only way to access Concord Street should be the southerly intersection of Summer and Concord. All right, you won't hit Eston School. All right, And the only, basically, yeah, side from the Spring Beach intersection along Summer to Concord Street.
Or they could come down 58 onto Summer Street.
Yeah, 58, yeah, basically Summer, the westerly section of Summer Street to Concord Street. That's the only way that they're gonna access. It has to be. Yeah, it's the only way that they're gonna be able to do it. Keep it away from the school, keep it off of Circuit Street. Yeah. All right, so does everybody kind of agree to that the only way that they should be accessing Concord Street is via the southerly side off of Summer Street?
Yes.
We'll come up with better language, but
Right, the southerly side of Summer Street.
no, the southerly intersection of Concord and Summer. Because Concord runs kind of like southeast northwest. So the south side is the Eston side, is the Summer Street side. The northwest is Market.
So we're not forcing them to come through Circuit Street.
Nope, we're not for it. We're telling them not to come through Circuit Street at all. We're telling them that the only way to get here is down Summer Street and take a left on the Concord Street. It's the only way it's gonna work.
Okay.
So do you have to specify that they're coming from Spring Street, Beach Street?
I don't think so.
I mean, because couldn't they come up the street from Circuit Street if you don't specify?
Yeah, we gotta get them off of Market and Union.
But that's Center Ave to Spring Street, not Market, I believe.
That's Center Ave, right? Market Street starts at Spring Street, and then it turns to Center Ave.
Wait a second, do that again? Oh, Spring.
Spring and Market Street ends at Spring Street by the Reed's Pond. The old
Okay.
Ford.
Yep.
On the other side, on the Avenue side is Center Ave.
Well, if they're coming down 123, they're going down Spring Street. They're going
Left.
they're taking a left onto Summer, and then they're taking a left on the Concord.
Right.
Yeah, so basically, all you gotta do is limit it to the portion of Summer Street between Spring and Concord. Because I don't want them coming down through Hanover.
You don't want them coming down John Dunn Drive.
That gonna change things?
It doesn't matter if they come through Hanover.
Yeah,
I don't want them accessing that, Concord Street by Summer Street.
Yeah.
By going down through Union Street.
Yeah.
And then going serpentining around Market Street. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, so again, and it's coming up with the appropriate words to state that the only access to Concord Street. How are you? Right here.
Yep.
The only access to Concord Street is via the southeasterly access at the intersection of Summer and Concord.
Yeah.
And then from there.
Chairman, how about?
Yeah, please, Mr. Baker, please.
Yeah, no, everyone in this conversation is more up on the geography than I am. So change the geography as you need, but how about some language like this? All construction traffic shall enter Concord Street via the southerly intersection of Summer Street and Concord Street.
This is why I needed you tonight.
Yeah, but we've got to preclude them from getting to that
Oh,
point.
no, Greg, my focus was more on the all construction vehicles shall enter by, rather than the specific heading.
That's the first part of it. That's the first part of it.
Right.
And then again, somehow we need some language to say that the approved route shall be via Summer Street at the intersection of Spring Beach and Summer.
And we should also clarify it by saying that no truck traffic shall go down Union or down at Market.
So that would be number two. That would be number one on that one. Number two, what Mr. Baker Jr. just said, and number three, that the only way, somehow you say the only way to get there is via Summer Street at the intersection of Summer, Spring, and Beach. So that gives them the exact intersection that they have to navigate to without going down Union, without going down Market. They figure out how to get there. And I live on Beach Street. There's dump trucks going up and down that all day. I ain't worried about it. We see it all the time. That's why that road is like a 50-foot layup. But that's.
Can I throw a monkey wrench?
Go right ahead, dude.
The highway department's gonna start ripping up Spring Street next month.
Not my fault.
Sidewalk and curb, and so they're gonna have
That's Spring Street. Do you honestly think that they're going? They can't. The only way that they could touch Spring Street is to come down 123.
Right.
It'll be done by the time this guy gets water.
I was waiting for somebody to go there. I was waiting for that. All right. We're all on the same page. We all understand what we're all trying to say. It's just a matter of coming up with the appropriate language to do so. Deb, as long as you've got that kind of in a blurb that we're all kind of saying the same thing, we can massage that after.
Do we want, so this is all part of like the construction management plan?
These are all conditions that we're doing. We're calling this is kind of like the pre-construction.
So do we want that approved by
done.
Tom? Is that a condition? Do we want that approved by Tom?
He's going to have to approve it anyway, regardless. It's not a condition that we have to put in there. He has to, all of this is going to have to go to him anyway. They're going to have to provide him a construction management plan.
All right, what about the police? Do they have to approve it?
I believe he takes that construction management plan and sits down with the lieutenant and makes sure that he's okay with it too.
Tom does.
Yep.
Okay, what about details? Is that an automatic thing that just happens?
That's
Like
something. Yeah, if they have to do work in the road, or if they have to block a lane, that's something that they have to talk to the police department themselves.
Okay.
They put a new bylaw in last year that if the sergeant on duty sees a hazard at a construction site, they have the right to shut it down until they get details for the job.
And where does that bylaw fall under? What does that fall under?
Under the police department, the chief. They put it in when they were doing the Albion Street.
Yep.
And the protesters were there.
Yep.
They wouldn't pay for the protesters, the company.
Okay.
And the town put in a bylaw that if there's any kind of hazard at a work zone and there's no details, they can shut it down and make the project owner pay for those details.
Applicant shall abide by any and all bylaws upheld by the Rockland Police Department. Does that work? Like a general, I'm trying to keep, there's some things that need to be specific. There are some things that I think this is a general one. Does that work?
Can we make it a little more general?
If you want to.
How about the applicant shall abide by all Rockland bylaws unless specifically waived by the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Isn't that what we do?
We don't waive bylaws.
Okay, then.
I hear what everybody's saying, and it's, you can't. I'd like to keep it, I wish it could be that general, but I don't think it can be. I still think it's gotta go by, you gotta isolated to any and all bylaws as written by the Rockland Police Department.
All right, how about including but not limited to those under the jurisdiction of the Rockland Police Department? General and specific at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see that being a
You
problem.
still glad I'm here, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
No, I need dude, we need everybody here. We need everybody here. Deb, did you hear what he just said? You gotta unmute yourself, Deb. There we go.
Can you just say that one more time? Applicant shall
Uh,
abide by.
By all Rockland town bylaws, including but not limited to those within the jurisdiction or whatever the right word is of the Rockland Police Department.
Keep it like that. I think Attorney Galvin is going to probably want to modify that a bit, but this is just our druthers at this
Just a
point.
draft. Yeah.
This is first draft stuff.
Hell yeah. Oh my God, yes. All
Rough draft stuff.
right. So we've got a construction route that we want to, that we're kind of happy with. We've looked at the police department and their bylaw that they've got going on. What else do we want to talk about?
Hours of
Okay,
operation.
can we just go back to, Mr. Chairman, can we just go back to the one that you had mentioned at the outset about, and what you and Mr. Baker, about the no staging of construction vehicles?
Yes, please.
Is that still on?
Oh, yeah. No, that has to be on.
Okay, that's fine. No, I misunderstood. I thought the hiring of police details was replacing that.
No, it's not replacing it, but because in the end that we were talking about, what if they need details and stuff like that. But honestly, that's kind of that's standard construction. If you're going to be working in the street, you need a detail. End of story.
Yeah.
That's kind of specific, but the idea, I've never heard that bylaw that the police department had. So, and I'm glad and this is why you're here, Mr. Baker, Senior. These are the things that we don't necessarily know about. So that's got to be added in there. So we've got a route, we've got streets to avoid, we've got a town bylaw that's written by the police department that they have to uphold. That's pretty good for a couple of pre-construction things. Where do we go from here?
Anything on signage for that or no? Construction signage?
Yeah, appropriate. I like that idea, but Mr. Baker, you said that Lieutenant Zioli required that for the school. Is that correct?
Yes, because that was the problem, like Greg was saying.
Yep.
When they first started, Landers was following the fill out that they were taking out of there.
Yep.
They were going up Taunton Ave, Reed
Yep.
Street, Division Street, Union Street,
Yep.
and it was with a better a pain in the ass up there.
No, I dig it.
Especially at 8 o'clock when the schools will get coming in. And they were carrying the mud and everything else all over town. So they changed it and put out those construction signs at those areas. And they also, there's no deliveries between 8 and 9 o'clock and 1:30 and I believe it's 3 o'clock. No construction vehicles can go to that property at that time. Because most of the trailer trucks were staging at Dunkin' Donuts at the plaza. They'd sit there for half hour, 45 minutes to wait to go to the school.
You're kidding me.
Nope. They cannot go on that property or anywhere near that school zone.
Okay. When it comes to the times, let's put that aside for right now because we don't have to deal with it. We don't have to deal with the school right now, but I still like that. Because again, you're going to be dealing with Concord Street is a school bus route.
Right.
So and I don't want to see construction vehicles, coming up and down that route between when the kids are getting picked up or when the kids are getting dropped off.
Mhm.
You know, so that needs to be addressed.
You have the skating rink down there too.
And the Concord Street. They do a lot during the week.
Yeah, after hours they do.
After
school. After school.
After school. All right.
Work hours though, we should have.
Standard work hours.
7 to 6 Monday through Friday and 7 to 3 on Saturdays.
That's
No
standard.
holidays.
That's standard, but I think we do have to limit the number of trucks entering or exiting at a specific time. Because you're only going to be able to do maybe 2 trucks at a time.
Right. Oh, definitely.
And that's just we've been to the site. We know how big it is.
One's gonna be dumped, one's gonna have to wait.
Exactly. And they're gonna back in.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They're gonna need details.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah, they probably are. I don't remember. Did they have we had talked about, I think we had talked about this, crushed stone, construction entrance, construction apron.
That is part of the highway department's purview. They require that now.
Was that, I don't remember seeing that on any of the plans.
It wasn't.
Okay.
Well, we should add that as a condition anyway.
Absolutely. Construction.
A stabilized construction entrance.
Right.
There we go. Mr. Tanzi, step up. You're right in the condition on this one.
Stabilized construction entrance shall be maintained at all times during construction at all access and egress points to the site.
What's the length and width that we need to put that in?
50 feet.
By?
And it needs to be
20?
Yeah. 20.
All right, so let's rewind. Let's restate that. A stabilized construction entrance, 50 foot long by 20 foot wide, and then I forgot what you said.
At all access and egress points.
Shall be maintained at all access and egress points for the site.
Yeah, throughout construction, throughout the duration of construction.
All right, and then again, just as a full-on description, a 50 foot long by 20 foot wide crushed stone.
Yeah, well, maybe we could make it 18 feet wide.
Oh, look at you, now you're giving them a break on 2 feet.
Yeah. They better enjoy it.
Okay, so 18 by 50. So 18 by 50 crushed stone. What did you call it again? Construction.
Stabilized entrance.
The construction stabilized construction
entrance. Yeah.
Construction entrance.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got? We haven't even touched on that. We haven't even touched on anything here yet. This is just all before they've even broken ground. Really?
You know what? We should add daily sweeping of Concord Street at the end of the day of construction.
There you go.
I would require it once a week now.
What's that?
Yes.
They only require it once a week?
Yes.
I do it daily. I do it daily. There's just too much.
Unless it's heavy, then they make them do it every day.
You're gonna have a lot of sediment tracking with all that stuff.
This is what these are what we want. If Attorney Galvin wants to bounce any of these or change any of these, we can. I think that just put it in as every day. And
that's not an unusual request.
No.
I know that oftentimes projects that I've worked on were conditioned daily sweeps, and they need it. when you're doing all that mucking around, you really do need it on Concord Street. You really
Downtown
need it
Avenue,
there.
look at that, Greg.
What's up?
Taunton Avenue, Division Street. Go down and look at that someday. It's a gravel pit,
Yeah,
and they sweep it every day.
yeah.
Well, it's in, I think it should be in there. Next.
On this subject of vehicles, they've got to keep all of their construction vehicle parking. Once we get past this stage, all the construction vehicles have to stay on the site. No parking along Concord Street.
No parking of construction vehicles on Concord Street.
Yeah, no temporary, live or otherwise.
Oh.
No stacking of trucks on Concord Street. Maybe verbiage like that, something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm
How are we-
thinking like just by the time they start to frame and do, rough installs, all those workers, vehicles they've got to find room for them on the site. So there'll be like during the construction process.
Yep.
This is beyond delivery of the concrete for foundations and fill. They're gonna have to find room for their workers on site.
Oh yeah, no, this is right down to the framer who got there late because he had to drop his kid off at school, and everybody else is already taking all the parking. No, it's 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, if they have to carpool, or find an alternative parking lot that's local and they have to carpool, they have to do what they have to do.
Absolutely.
But, we can't let them use Concord Street as a construction staging.
No.
Yep. No.
Adequate dumpsters will be provided for any excess waste.
Yeah, I've got a note, just sort of this, we should have in the, if we don't have a construction management plan, we should at least know how they're going to store materials on site. And we should have maybe some.
They had stockpile areas called out, didn't they?
So they stockpile topsoil, soils and fills, but if they're bringing in lumber and if they've got materials, if they've got a trailer, all of those things, we should know where they're going, because I don't think anything should be in the front part of the site. I don't think things should be up against Concord Street where that rain garden is going and along Concord.
I agree with that. I was thinking about, what about construction trailers, porta potties? Maybe have them towards the back of the site so that they're not, unsightly. Maybe we put a condition that they submit a construction sequencing and operations plan, showing.
That's the whole construction management plan that Tom's going to have to approve.
So for 4 units, I'm just, I'm not sure what, I get it for like a 27 unit apartment building. But, is Tom really going to see a construction management plan for 4 houses?
Basically, yeah.
We do need it. They do need to phase it, because this site is more difficult than a 27 unit site where there's room to construct this thing. This is a mousetrap of a site.
Oh, put it this way, take the zone 2 bullshit, take the conservation issues out of Shingle Mill. This is 1/64th of Shingle Mill. And Shingle Mill's an easier site to deal with than this one from a construction standpoint.
It really is. So let's make sure, let's plan that we're putting in a condition that we review and approve a construction management plan. Like, we should see that too. And then that way we don't find out down the line that Tom didn't have to see one because it was only 4 units or something.
I hear you. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Who's
100%.
going to approve that? Is that
Well,
Tom?
Technically, Tom is supposed to get a copy of that, and he's gonna, technically, he would approve it. If he's got any questions, if he's got any issues, if he's got anything, you know what his answer, Deb, you know what his answer is gonna be. Send him to the board.
Okay. But they're going to build from the back forward.
They're gonna grade the site first. All right, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna grade the site. Second thing they're gonna do is they're gonna put the binder in for the street. Get that all taken care of. From there, I would think that they would start from the back and move towards Concord Street. So they would excavate the first foundation, get that done. Then do the second, third, and then fourth.
Oh, foundations prior to like building like house number 4?
Well, I don't know.
Foundations?
I'm talking the farthest foundation back into the site.
It might build all the foundations at one time.
At one time.
They could do that too, but most builders don't do that. They technically only build them once they get a commitment. Yeah, PNS. So that's what, and I brought that up to him. When we were talking about it. I said to him, are you building these on spec, or are you going to wait until you get a PNS per unit? Oh, I don't know. What would you do? I told him I'd build from the back and move out. That's what he said at public meeting. So it's like, I don't know.
He's building. Well, the market may change by the time he's able to build.
Right.
But he's building all of these all at once. He will probably frame them all at the same time. He will probably work on all of them simultaneously, as long as he can find places to park.
See, that's really what it comes down to. That's why I figure if he wants to frame them all at the same time, put all the foundations in first, and then deal with, deal with framing after that, because he's going to run out of room. Once he gets those foundations in, once he knows where the paving is, at least the binder course, he's going to run out of room.
Yeah.
Stuff in the garage.
And when he has those foundations in, he still needs an excavator to do his utilities. He's got that drainage recharge system.
Yep.
There, he's got to do his
He's going to do that first. He's going to end up doing that first. He's going to, because that has to go in before the binder goes down. So he's going to end up.
That'll go in before the binder goes down, but he might opt to do that after he's got his foundations in, because these are plastic chambers he's got down there. And having concrete trucks driving over those things, I can't see him risking doing that. He might, but I don't think that would be a wise thing to do. I mean, they can take heavy loads with binder pavement, but until the binder pavements, and he's not going to put binder pavement down prior to pouring foundations. He'd do that afterwards. That binder would be, that having concrete trucks going over any pavement, binder or otherwise, it's tough.
So I answer you this. Why doesn't because he knows horizontal and vertical position of these foundations, why doesn't he do the foundations first? If he does the foundation, if he tears up preps the whole site and then does all 4 foundations first, then he's able to work around those foundations and start, again, he knows the horizontal and vertical position of the drainage system. This is why you do all these plans. If you have all that information, you can start with the most difficult thing, which unfortunately is going to be the foundations, because that's what's going to screw up parking and in site maneuverability. 100%. But again, we can't tell them how to build this thing. We can only tell them.
Wait a minute. Mr. Chairman, here's a question.
Mhm.
Now, the proposal calls for 4 units, one of which is supposed to be affordable, right?
Mhm.
So if he's building and selling them one at a time, and he sells the first 3 at market, how do we know that 4th one's going to get built?
Well, here's what I was,
Good
what I was,
question.
here's the concern that I have. He builds 1 unit and then he sells it. Now you've got somebody who's living there accessing the site while it's still under construction. So, I mean, I think maybe we can condition it so that no occupancy permits will be issued until the site is 100% complete and the affordable unit has been allotted. Because there's a lottery process, a selection process for that affordable unit, and they have to screen qualified candidates, and somehow I think they make there's a lottery where somebody gets chosen, and then the sale goes through. But we can't have people living there while he's finishing off the last unit.
Can we designate which unit is the affordable?
No, we didn't.
Hey,
Who said what?
he didn't say which one was gonna be affordable.
Can we designate?
Well, I know,
I would guess.
I know that,
No, but
I know that Chapter 40B says that the affordable units have to be integral with the market rate units. In other words, you can't just stick all the affordables off in the corner of a site somewhere. And I don't know as if you can stick the affordable one out on front of.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I say stick the affordable one at the back.
Or what about right in the middle? Now you're not front, you're not back. I mean, the back unit is probably going to be the most desirable because.
Exactly. That's why I say put it at the back.
I mean, I don't know if I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to that. If you want the affordable one having the best view.
You gotta be careful because now you're getting into discrimination.
how about making it a little more general along the lines of what Greg said? Something like no occupancy permit shall be issued until all units have been completed and the affordable unit has been designated.
This is why I need you here, man. I like that. Does that work? I mean, does that work?
Yes, no, I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
Yeah. What if you said that the affordable unit was built first? What if you said the affordable unit was constructed first?
It wouldn't matter.
Well, it would.
With that condition, it won't matter. Which doesn't matter whether he constructs it first or last.
If it's constructed first, your logic says that they would put it towards the back tree line.
I hear what you're saying. But in the end, I don't know if we can regulate.
And it would guarantee that it gets built out of the 4 when we are concerned about it not being built.
Right. No. I agree with that. I agree with
think
that.
Bob would kick that out if we told him where to put it.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if we can regulate that.
You're on the fence of that discrimination there.
Yeah, and you're right, and I don't want a vengeance clause.
Yeah. All right, so we're good there. What's next?
Rob, with this site is wet and they're gonna have to take some of that stuff out that's wet. They're not gonna be able to just put fill over it and not do anything.
No. That's gonna be remove all unsuitable material. How do we say this? All on-site conditions shall be reviewed by Pat Brennan.
Yes.
of Amory Engineers, and all unsuitable material shall be removed.
Right. And I think we should have them do what we call one foot lifts compacted. In other words, they put a foot of material down, they compact it, put another foot of material, compact it, another foot, and compact that so that we know the ground's gonna be stable.
Yeah, so all fill shall be compacted in 1 foot lifts.
Yes.
I'm
You agree,
fine with
Brett?
that.
Yeah.
Do we need to have a geotech look at this? And observe on site when they're doing lifts?
Pack can do that. That's not that hard to do.
He doesn't test lift, he doesn't do compaction test.
You don't need a compaction test. They just come in with a 20-ton roller and roll it.
They still do compaction tests on it.
Well, they typically will do a compaction test on a roadway bed.
Right. So they're gonna have,
Yeah,
to do it through the, under the roadway.
yeah. That's interesting, though. They've got that drainage system underneath the roadway.
This is why I'm thinking that they need some sort of geotech out there to test required compaction. Because there may be there's going to be a different requirement when you're under just loam and seed versus when you're under a foundation versus when you're underneath the drainage system versus when you're underneath just standardized bituminous concrete. So I'm wondering if there's I'm wondering if we should require geotechnical observation. Is that the right word?
Well, what they do is compaction tests.
So what I'm saying is, do we come up with a condition to require that?
And then what do you want? Do you want 96%, 95%? If we're going to specify.
Over my head. I know what they do. I know when it's required. I don't know anything about numbers. That's why I think that's why I think.
Gotta be something in that area, 95, 96.
So the
Like
subgrade, let's say subgrade beneath all pavement shall be compacted to 96% dry density.
Going too far. That's above and beyond what we need to be talking about. We all know that it needs to happen. So we need to keep it general. We need to keep it kind of a general.
Right. But if you say that it has to be compaction testing has to be done, you have to specify to what extent. I mean, they could just not even they could like roll at once.
On-site compaction tests per lift shall be required per the review engineer's recommendation. If Pat says they need it, then they need it. If Pat doesn't say that they need it, then they can go with, because put it this way, if we make the condition that says that Pat has to make that decision, it takes everything that we're talking about off the table. We don't have to talk about numbers. We don't have to talk about, a 97% compaction rate. We don't have to talk about 1 foot lifts. We don't have to talk about, they should be 8-inch lifts. I've seen 4-inch lifts, depending on where you are. So I don't think we have to go that far as long as we specify that on-site compaction tests shall be required. No, that doesn't make sense. On-site compaction tests will be required per the town's review engineer recommendations. I'm falling short here. I'm sorry.
But I think that's only halfway there, because even if he determines that a compaction test is necessary, and I have no idea what a compaction test is, what, if any, who sets the standards of compliance, and what's the consequence if they don't comply?
He sets them. And he comes in with the If they don't meet it, they gotta recompact it.
Okay, yeah, so it just should say something like that too.
All right, you've done me good so far. How do we come out? Do we got some better language?
Let's see. Right now, I don't.
All right, well, we're on the same page that if we keep it general and we put it in Pat's hands, compaction tests will be required.
What about the soil being brought in?
Soil should be, again, this is where an LSP would come into play.
Right.
Deb was raising her hand. I saw you.
So is Pat supposed to be like on site all the time, or does Pat do like inspections?
See, that's the problem. He's not going to be able to be on site all the time.
Right, so,
He's going to end up doing inspections. I believe he's going to, hold on. What time is it?
8:30.
Let me just see if he's awake.
He has to be there for the paving and the drainage and stuff.
I mean, we could say critical aspects of construction.
There you go.
Because that's what he's gonna do. I mean, he's not gonna set it and forget it, but he can't be there 24/7 either.
but like weekly or depending, it depends on what's going on.
It would depend.
Okay,
It depends upon the construction scheduling, what's going on. Critical components that he absolutely needs to make sure have been done adequately or correctly before.
Yeah, and it'll be up to them
construction.
to call Pat and say, hey, Pat, we're doing this and we need you to come down and inspect it. When can you be there?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm a little nervous about, but he does it all the time anyway. I mean, they have to deal with this.
Right.
so does he have to be there for every foot of material?
It's never going to work that way.
No,
It's never. It'll
he
never
doesn't,
happen.
but what he'll probably do
Why
is
don't,
know
why don't
that.
we leave it up to him? Why don't we leave it up to Pat to decide how often it needs to be done?
Well, it will be, it will be Pat's discretion. I mean,
Hey, guys,
he
I just,
knows-
Pat just texted me back. He's driving home from a meeting in Halifax. Says he should be home in about 15 minutes. He's asking if we want him on the call right now.
No, I don't think we need to bother him.
Yeah, I don't think that.
We can write this up and then draft.
I mean, yeah,
And-
it's not like it's etched in stone right tonight either. Rob,
Again, it's only an ideas. These are only ideas. We're just making sure that we're all kind of getting these ideas out at this point. Pat is going to need to review this to some degree in the field. It's just a matter of how, when, how many times. I would actually look to him for those answers. So as long as we're all on the same page that Pat needs to be involved from beginning to end of this site, I'll look to him to kind of guide us into how to write that condition. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It does.
Deb's got her hand up.
I got a question. What about funding for Pat?
Good question.
Comes under review.
Yeah, I mean, the applicant's gonna pay, the town's not gonna pay for his town.
No. All right.
All inspectional services shall be borne by the developer.
Done. Nice, simple, and easy. Let me just text Pat and say that we're good at this point.
While you're doing that, Tim's question about where the trailers would be parking, construction trailers, even workers' trailers. Because a lot of the electricians bring a small trailer to work out of. I think we should set at least 100 feet off of Concord Street, back on the property.
Do that.
Hmm?
But I hear where you're going. It's not gonna work. You're gonna limit it way too much. There's no way. There's no way. And yes, that some people, because put it this way, most people bring in, I don't know if you're talking about the construction trailer, the office trailer, ain't gonna happen. There's never gonna be one. The only trailers that are gonna be on there would be potentially a Connex box, Connex storage box for tools. And maybe the occasional 6x12 contractor's trailer that's hauling all the carpentry tools and stuff like that. And even at that, this is why it would be so good for him to get these foundations in the ground with the floors poured, because that's going to be his individual staging areas for all the construction. It's not going to be outside. It's going to be the concrete floor and the driveway for each individual unit. I guarantee it. Parking for all these contractors, unless he hires one company of 6 people to do all the framing, one company, all driving a potential of 2 trucks. Think about the concrete truck, and I'm not talking just a pump truck. Think about the truck that's going to come in to drop all the concrete forms. And it's granted, he's probably it's not going to be a giant truck with a hook and ladder like they do, because we know these are all going to be on grade, for crying out loud. But, it still comes down to, it's going to be a nightmare for this guy. And as long as none of the trucks are on Concord Street, we're golden. So when it comes to limiting that stuff, I don't know if we can do that. That's going to get too convoluted for him. Mr. Galley, I see you.
Yes, I remember when we were talking about just the residents, we couldn't put up signs that say no parking on Concord Street, when it was finished and done.
Mhm.
Would it be possible to require them to put up signage, temporary signage or cones or something like that, to show no parking zones during construction in the
That would be
immediate area?
We can put it on there. We can definitely put it on there. But here's the question. Here's a big question. Who's going to police that?
Yeah.
And again, hopefully the residents, if they see this happening, they will call.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will call. I can't guarantee that they will, but hopefully, if they do start to see people busting breaking the bylaw, not the bylaws, but busting the conditions, I'm hoping that somebody will drop it down. I really do.
Yeah. But I'm thinking if there's a sign or something there, it will encourage people. They're going to complain anyway, but at least if there's a sign or something, people can go. They can't go, well, there's no sign. There's no, they can't just say, well, there's nothing there telling me not to. They can say, no, look at that sign. Look at that cone, whatever.
All right, so like a specific sign that says no parking on Concord Street, all complaints shall be forwarded to the Rockland Police Department.
Yeah, something
along those lines.
Something that they can't say. There's nothing saying we can't do it, because some of these contractors are not going to have seen the final contract.
Oh yeah, they'll never see the conditions. They'll never see it.
Yeah.
Deb was raising her hand.
So in thinking this through, that's up to Tom though, correct?
What?
To enforce, we have a condition that there is no construction vehicles parking on Concord Street. So that's up to Tom to enforce that, or he can shut them down.
That is up to Tom to, yes.
I mean, who's going to do that.
And it's up to him to call a police station and say, hey, you got to go down there. And
but I
police
mean,
would have the jurisdiction over parking on Concord Street, not Tom.
But we put in the condition that there's no parking. There's no parking.
Right.
So we don't enforce that, though, zoning.
We don't enforce that, but I hear what Steve's saying, you know, if there's a sign out there,
All right, so
Thank
temporary signage then.
temporary construction signage stating no parking on Concord Street. All complaints shall be referred to the building department and police department. Does that work? I just want these signs to be like 6 by 6, you know what I mean? I get paragraphy, so I don't want to.
Billboard.
Yeah, hey, but then I'm the permit. And it's not in the billboard overlay zone. So, no, I'd say.
Can we rent time on that billboard and have that on there?
As long as we've got some sort of signage, some sort of temporary construction signage outside, out front, that states no parking on Concord Street. Whatever verbiage needs to be on there, as long as it's there.
So are the signs just gonna be in front of the site?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, because if you park in front of someone's house down the street, they're gonna complain.
Oh, yeah.
you don't want to limit residents to not be able to park a car on Concord Street.
Right, and they're not gonna complain about parking in front of their own house.
So
Right.
it's construction vehicles or it's just vehicles?
No construction vehicles, which we've already stated. But
Okay,
it should be no parking. It should be no parking of any kind on Concord Street from here to here. From what
between
corner.
signs.
Because you don't want, we can't tell residents that they can't park out there,
So
but
between signs.
yeah. Yep.
Okay,
What else we got?
We have signs that say no commercial parking.
Yeah, but it's gotta be limited from lot corner to lot corner. Because we can't limit somebody else, so we can't have anybody inferring something that's not the case.
Yeah,
So
they
as
have to
long
take
as we have, as long
Would
as,
Amazon be commercial?
and again, there may not be people may be pulling their own cars up. You'll have the framer or you'll have a carpenter pull up in his Honda Civic. That's not commercial. So there should be no construction parking from lot corner to lot corner. Signage will be required. Something along those lines. Again, we have to solidify these words. I'm not worried about it as long as we have these ideas.
so what's to prevent them from parking up to the sign? Aside from the condition that says you can't.
They'll be in
Well, I
front
mean,
of somebody else's
we already
property.
have the condition that there's not to be any parking, construction vehicles and vehicles used by workers on the site on Concord Street.
Right,
That's up to the applicant to enforce. The signage is kind of gravy on top of that, but
Yeah.
there's still underlying prohibition on parking on Concord Street for essentially anyone involved in the project.
And if you look at the house on the right-hand side, if somebody parks on Concord Street up to the sign, you're gonna be parked in front of the dude's, like in the dude's driveway. Blocking the driveway so he can't come out. On the other side, you'll be parked in front of their grass area, but I guarantee it, if somebody from that house sees it, they're calling the
They're gonna
cops.
okay.
Mrs. Gordon will be calling every day.
Go. Next,
Right across the street.
what else we got?
A headache.
Okay, let's do some different ones. I had said this at the last time. I wanna limit the elevation, the ridge elevation to elevation 118.5. All right, that's 3 feet lower. That's 3 feet low, little under 3 feet lower than what he was proposing.
Well, since he is,
Somebody was saying something. I'm pulling plans up.
I remember he
No,
said he
what
wanted tall ceilings. How high were the rooms or the ceilings?
9
9
feet.
foot,
Okay.
9-foot ceilings.
Yeah, I hear where he's going, but I mean, come on.
You don't need 9-foot ceilings.
You don't.
I
8
think-
is standard.
I think
for
I have,
houses.
I don't even know if I have an 8-foot. Maybe I have a 7.5.
Yeah, there you go.
I
And I
can touch
thought
my,
that- I thought Attorney Galvin said you couldn't limit that.
No, we can limit that. We can
Well,
make
I think
we
he
can make
said
a condition.
we can't limit it beyond that to which the applicant has agreed.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
He agreed at the last meeting to reduce them by 3 feet.
3 feet.
Yeah. Yep, somebody kind of busted Bob's ass when he, oops, excuse me, right. Somebody kind of busted Bob, when he started saying that. Someone, I don't remember who it was, and I thank whoever said it, told him that this was something that the applicant had agreed to.
I think it was Tim.
Him? Oh, dude,
No.
you made, dude, you would, no, I remember you made it
Never do
happen.
that.
I couldn't remember who did it, but I knew somebody did.
Yeah. I don't want a flat roof.
No, it's not gonna end up
I
being.
mean, can he do a 7-pitch, or he was talking about a
He had a 7-pitch. Architectural, here it is.
He wants to. He is going to lower. He just really could not get his head around the fact that his lower level is not in the ground.
Well, did you hear what he said? He even admitted it to, well, he kind of admitted that it's not what he was thinking when this whole thing came together. And he just didn't recognize it. And it amazed him that this was not what he was thinking. And I'm like, well, what were you thinking then, dude?
That showed you didn't even look at the plans.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So we said, 121.4. Yeah.
So I think it's fine. We can put in the number, and he's going to come back to us with some plans down the line.
Yeah.
And I still stand that it's not the height of the ridge. Ultimately, it's this notion of having the first floor 11 feet in the air.
Where is it?
Yeah.
From the air. It's literally like 13 or 14 feet above the existing grade. It's just ridiculous.
When I think basement, I think everything below grade. All right, at least 6 feet of the foundation below grade when I think of a basement. He's calling the basement, just like Tim's saying, everything above grade.
Anything below the first floor.
Anything below the first floor. The first floor is the garage. This is not a garage under. It may be garage under the first floor, but this is not typically what a garage under is. Typically, your first floor is no more than, let's call it 3 feet above 3 feet above adjacent grade, and everything else below that is your basement, and your garage is under. Right now, this is technically, I don't see this being a garage under. He wants to argue semantics, whatever. I don't care.
Well, just board members just know it's actually defined in our zoning code. So
Oh yeah, and I don't like that definition either. I saw that.
right, it's basement versus a cellar.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
The expectation is a basement is half under, and a cellar is all the way. But it's
all I know is that he based the dimensions and everything that he gave us for numbers. He gave them to us based on, it was building number 2. 2 was like the highest elevation in the site. So what I'm seeing here is he had 121.4 as the highest elevation of the ridge. The overall height, he had, come on. Yep. All right. 121.4 minus 25.42. 9298. Let me give you the number again one more time. 1 21.4. Actually, no, it's right there. 28 foot 5 inches. That's based on his architectural plan. No building height shall be higher than, no building height should be higher than 28 foot 5 inches from average grade plane. That's the number, regardless of where it is, because if you say elevation, he's going to hold that same elevation all the way through the site. So if you go with what Tim is saying, regardless of the elevation, if you say that no building shall exceed a height of 28 foot 5 inches from average grade plane, that covers 3 feet lower than this building number 2 that he showed. And that will stay consistent for each building going up the site.
So that 28 feet that you mentioned, Rob?
Yep.
Is that to the peak or to the mid?
That's to the peak.
Okay.
That's to the peak. So that should cover it. Because again, just to run the numbers like he was saying. On building number 2, he started with, he started with elevation 93, which was call it the garage elevation, the garage floor elevation. So 93. Plus, he said 3 feet of revealed concrete. So that equals 96. Plus 25.42 feet, which is 25 and 5 inches. That's 121.42. He's got the elevation at the top as 121.4, so we're right there. Again, if you take 93 and you add it, and you add 25.42 to that, plus the 3 feet, you get the same number. So 25.42 plus the 3 feet is 28.42. Call it 28 foot 5 inches. That's the number. So no building height shall exceed 28 foot 5 inches from existing grade, from the proposed average grade plane. That should cover it.
Good.
Does everybody follow what I was saying? Yes? No, please?
Yeah, I think it's fine to go from there and work out any nuance with him. I think we should also speak to the footprint, max 30 by 46.
Is that what he had? I don't need, here we go.
Yeah, overall. So it's 30 by 46 with a 14-foot setback to the deck and an 18-foot setback to the building.
Oh, thank you. There we go. 46 by 30. So that bump out's 4 feet. Is that what we're saying?
I think actually 2 feet. The decks are very small.
Oh, the bump out's 2 feet. All right. So that's 26 and that's 2. So that's where your 30 is. All right, I see it. 4. What were your numbers again, Tim?
It's 30 by 46.
48. Look at the architectural plans. 48. I'm looking at it right. I had to zoom in way. If you look at, I'm trying to see if he's counting the.
I'm looking at it's dated 2/3. Do I have a later plan that's wider?
I pulled the one off of the website. If you look at,
they reduced the size of these. So this is the architecturals that they just submitted with the grades and the.
Yes, I'm looking at the same ones. He's got 2 plans on here. One's concept plan 1, the other one's concept plan 2. Concept plan 2 is 48 by 30.
Yeah.
And then concept plan number 1 is 46 46 by 30. Now, the question is, what did he show on the site plan?
I looked at these plans so close. I'm like, what is the difference between these?
I know.
What about on those plans, the optional fireplace, which pushes it out 2 feet?
Possibly. Let me look at that again.
On plan 1 and plan 2.
It hangs off the side and isn't a footprint,
Okay,
so it doesn't count in the footprint.
Yeah,
okay.
optional gas fireplace. They're not dimensioning it. They're leaving the dimensions at concept plan number 1, 46 by 30, concept number 2, 48 by 30. The drainage plan, 28, 9, 30, 46 by 30. Okay. No, wait a second.
46, 48.
The front 3 are 48 by 30. The back one is 46 by 30.
Oh, that must be the affordable one.
Oh, wait a second. I'm going to change it one more time. If you
How many
let-
houses you building
that
now?
must be the Nice, nice.
With
Put
the
them on
need for
stilts?
This is what I got right now. This is the last plan that he submitted. The affordable unit in the back, the unit in the back, building number 4 is 28 by 46.
28 by
28 by 46. Now, what he's got in the front, that building number 3, 28 by 48. Building number 2, 28 by 48. Building number 1, 28 by 48. These are the dimensions that are coming from the plan that's on here. Obviously, I'm not scaling anything. I'm going by what he gave us.
Yep, I'm seeing that.
28 by 48,
Yep, for buildings 1 through 3.
and the affordable one is 28 by,
46, that's what it says. Now, hold on.
is he allowed to do that?
Why wouldn't it be?
Well,
I'm just trying to see if there's any
My-
cantilevering that I don't
my
know.
understanding is from the outside, the affordable has to look identical to the market rates.
So I mean, like facade and
Hey, Tim, do you have the architectural plans in front of you?
Yes,
Is the first floor that's above the basement, is that cantilevered?
yeah.
Ah. Okay. Well, then his plans aren't really dimensioned appropriately then.
It's an ongoing problem.
Yeah, the lower level, the overall rectangle of the lower level is 48 on concept number 2 is 48 by 20. That's the lower level. On the upper floor level, that's where it is, 48 by 30. So if we're going to talk about building shit, like building the measurements, building dimensions, should we be dealing with the footprint and not the cantilever?
Yeah, I think so.
So should we call it footprint as opposed to building dimension? Can we say, is that too limiting or no?
Because
I'm losing you, Tim.
the footprint. Oops, sorry, let me
Jim
get
froze up.
All right, as long as it wasn't me, because I know my internet kind of sucks. There you go. I see you waving.
Yeah,
All right, he's froze.
He froze again.
I still frozen. It keeps saying your internet is unstable. My back.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have how many things do you have open, like using internet on your computer at that one, at one time?
I only this. I just just the internet is just terrible.
Okay, no, I found that when you have multiple things, when you're hogging bandwidth on yourself,
Hmm.
that's because I had, at one point, I had Google Earth, the town's webpage, my email, and like 2 other things open at the same time, and that's one of the reasons that my computer started to crash, or at least Zoom started to crash. But yeah, so
I think I have neighbors who just stream a lot of videos.
Right. So when we're talking about this, we should limit ourselves to the physical footprint of the building and not the cantilever section. And then in turn, when we talk about dimensions, we refer to the footprint of the building.
Mhm.
Okay.
But the cantilever has a closer setback than the.
That's my point. So do we make certain that we say that any cantilevering of the first floor shall be towards the driveway?
Well, let me ask you this. In his list of waivers, I mean, we've got something in the bylaw that talks about projections, right?
Mhm.
I believe so, yeah.
Did he ask for a waiver from that?
I don't think he had to, because all of the any projection or cantilevering was towards the driveway. But if we don't say something like that, he could force it the other way. And are we sure that there's a projection clause in the zoning bylaw?
I thought there was.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Bay windows, chimneys, there are things that are specifically excluded from that, but a cantilever of a floor, would not qualify as a bay.
Right.
We just make certain, because he and I have argued about this before, and I've said that it should, and he said that it shouldn't.
So those architecturals, they're only cantilevering towards the driveway, not towards the rear
Yep.
property line. Well, maybe it doesn't matter unless he changes stuff.
No, that's not it. Condition, no, that's planned unit, that's why. Unit signs. Building, okay, start here.
How far are the buildings from the lot line now on the plan?
18 towards the back and 14 for the decks. Double check that.
So why can't we put a condition that no building shall be more than, less than 18 feet from the property line?
There we go. That's gonna
Except
cover.
for which can be 14 feet.
Yep,
And
that's gonna
14
cover it.
feet from the deck.
Yep. No, that's gonna cover it for the side. That's gonna cover it for the side. Shit. I don't have it for the rear. Hold on.
There is no rear on the building.
Well, there's a rear lot line setback, and I think they asked for a waiver on it already. Here, I'm pulling up the exceptions, or I'm pulling up the waiver request right now. Minimum side, they're saying minimum side yard setback 14 feet, minimum rear yard 20 feet. We need to be more specific on that. Because if we just approve that and say minimum side yard at 14 feet, that means he could put the building at 14 feet. All right, and not put a deck on the back. So we need to have a condition of minimum side yard setback for decks, 14 feet. Minimum side yard for concrete foundation or building. I'd rather say building.
Including projections?
Including projections.
Yeah.
Is 18 feet. And I'm pulling up the site plan right now just to be safe. Oh. There it is. Okay. Yeah, what he's proposing is 14 feet off the left sideline for the decks, 20 feet off the rear sideline for the dwelling, and 27 feet off the frontage, which is already complying. That complies. So the only thing, we can't really, we're not even going to touch that because he can't get, he didn't ask for it. He didn't ask for a variance. He's proposing it to comply. So we're not going to touch the front offset. He is, however, saying that, and again, we can't touch that other side either. So the only ones that we have to worry about are the 14-foot side offset for the deck and the 18-foot offset for the structure, for the main structure.
The whole, let's say the whole structure, top to bottom. Because he could turn around and close the deck.
Good. Yeah, he could. Oh, and then 20 feet, and we also have to say 20 feet off the rear lot line. Which you say that, and that brings up a good point on the deck. I was watching, the hell was it? It was one of those HGTV shows or something like that. They were talking about, and they were putting up deck screening. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. I mean, they're going to have to have railings anyway because it's way above the requirement. So why couldn't we make them put some sort of screening on the deck? That way they can't see over the deck and the neighbors can't see into the deck. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I saw it on one of these stupid programs.
I'd rather see something stronger than screen.
Well, I mean, the screening was 2x4. It was 2x4. It was 2x4 screening. It was basically a fence. It's like 4-inch boards, and they're like one here, one here, one here. You know what I mean? So you can't see through them.
What's the answer?
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I think there's a word for the quality. There's a type of fence for it, but I don't know what. But that's what they had put up on these. That's what they had put up on these decks. And I don't know if we say, I don't know if we put in a condition that says, any decks above 10 feet in the air will require screening.
So I'll be honest, the landscape, if they install all the landscape that they propose,
Mm-hmm.
a tree in every backyard, there's it's actually really pretty nice living screen. And I think I can't believe he's putting
pull that up so I can see it.
But I think to have a fence, basically to have that screening 6 feet, from your door is
good. No, I agree. I was just throwing it out there because I saw it on the TV.
It just came. Had to have a first floor that's like 12 feet in the air. It's just like walk up a full flight of stairs to get. I've got like 6 that come in my house. I've got like a basement, half a basement up, and it drives me crazy. I just want to drop my house onto a slab.
All right, guys. We're at 9:10. It's getting late. I know I'm getting a little punchy here, so I think we made good progress on this. Deb, when you get hold on. Deb, when you get a chance, when you get back into the office, can you make sure that all the board members get a copy of the 2 decisions that Bob had you look at?
Yeah.
And just make sure that we all have them. We can all review them. Because quite possibly, a lot of this may have already been in there, but I don't think so. Because a lot of these were very site specific. A lot of this was this site specific. So this way, everybody gets a copy of that. When you get a chance, just peruse over the standard conditions that we are the conditions that we put together for both Maple Woods and Park and Howard. And clear on Park and Howard. I think we forced them and dropped the number of units. Greg, do you remember what we did for them? We severely limited the number of units on them,
Yeah,
and they didn't fight us in the least.
right.
Didn't we? Didn't they want to do like a partial fourth floor? And we told them no right off the bat.
Something like that.
Yeah, they had like a step. It was like this weird step back fourth floor situation. And we told them no, and I think we ended up limiting the number of units on the third floor as well.
Yeah. I think I remember something about balconies too.
Yeah, we told them no balconies.
Yeah.
Actually, we did tell them no balconies, so we could turn around and tell them no decks.
Yeah.
There wasn't. We actually did that because
No, an elevated deck like that is the same as a balcony.
it's a balcony. Yeah, we could tell them no decks.
Get rid of the decks.
Huh?
Get rid of the decks. No decks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that they're necessary, and they are intrusive to that neighbor.
Oh, absolutely. If you want something outside, if you want outside living, put a patio.
This deck, it's not even a deck. It's literally like a landing to stairs to go to your yard.
Yeah.
You can put a
A
grill.
lookout tower.
It's 6 by 12.
Yeah.
You can literally go out there to smoke or go out and light the charcoal grill. It's unlivable.
Yeah. No, it is. It's not really usable.
But it is it's an egress, and it's the only way to get into the yard, really.
Oh yeah, it's egress. It's emergency egress. I didn't think about that. All right. All right, I got a motion to adjourn. Do I got a second?
Second.
I got many seconds.
Second.
I got roll call. I got a third second. I got a let's see, roll call. Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Senior.
Yes.
Mr. Tanzi.
Yes.
Mr. Haynes.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Galley, because you're an important member of this team. Damn it.
Yes.
Rock and roll, people. All right. Thank you for hanging out this late. I appreciate it all. When are we together next?
Next week.
See you all next week if we don't see you sooner.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone.